Oh, hey, welcome back to the Raw Intuition channel, podcast, whatever. And this is my makeup tutorial. Psych. No, I don't do that. But it is the Libra Moon today. So I'm going to talk about Libra and the moon. And Libra energy is associated with beauty and sometimes very superficial beauty, like a makeup tutorial. And so I'm going to do my makeup, which I suck. This is going to be the worst makeup tutorial you've ever seen in your life, okay? But it'll be good Libra information. So it's up to you to stick around. But anyways, Libra, this is like my dollar store eyeliner. So I think you're supposed to do this thing in makeup tutorials where you like show that. It's all like dollar store stuff. So just go to the dollar store if you want my look, which is supermodel status. Okay. So anyways, this is another moon reflections video, and I will be pulling cards and reflecting on moon energy and Libra energy because the moon's in Leo. And that's what I do during my moon reflection videos on my astrology channel. I'm just looking at how I look with one eye painted and the other one not. So Libra is all about balance. Okay. It's all about, there's all these studies done that shows, because scientists are like, what is beauty? Why do people think that this is beautiful and this isn't beautiful? And what a lot of the data came back is that they found that balance is really beauty. So if everybody's facial features or hands or limbs or everything that you have two of is slightly off, just a little bit, unless you have my eyebrows, and then they're kind of like a lot off. But anyways, it's considered people who have more equal on both sides are scientifically proven to be more attractive to people than who are not. So Libra represents this kind of beauty. Libra represents the Venus energy of beauty and expression and love and harmony and balance and romance and all of those things. Partnership, the balancing out in relationship, harmonistic relationships. So it also represents your kidneys, which help balance and regulate your whole body. So, drink water if you want to channel your Libra moon. Also, water is always really good moon channeling thing to do. And it's just good to do in general, especially if you like live anywhere in the planet and you're alive, just like drink water. And I say it a lot. So anyways, I don't think I can do makeup and talk at the same time. So the people who do these tutorials, dude, like they deserve a lot. I'm trying to make myself balanced is the goal. Because like even my skin tone is like not balanced. I have a really nice ring light that is helping balance out my skin tone. So anyway, Libra is a harmonious asshole sometimes, because sometimes Libra's like kind of snotty about wanting balance and harmony in a way that makes it unharmonious. It's like a weird thing. This is only if your Libra energy is out of balance, of course. Or if you just don't seek out balance at all, then, if you're all about self, which is the opposite of Libra, which is Aries, then if you're all about self, that's a little out of balance with the laws of nature, which requires us to balance ourselves and balance our harmonious relationship with others. And so sometimes if you get all about yourself and you're too much in your Libra, like I gotta win, I gotta be on top and all of those things, you can mess your life up because people won't like you and you need people. So like, I don't know, unless you want to go live in the middle of nowhere and eat berries or something, hunt your own food, make your own clothes. Can you do that? Please make a YouTube tutorial if you do that. I guess it would be hard without internet that you would require from somebody else or like whatever. Anyways, so I'm gonna pick a Grandmother Perci card. But in the moon, it's a really good placement for the moon. And a lot of people, which I'm gonna make a rant video about, probably about how people try to plan what their child's placements will be. But a lot of people want Libra or like Sagittarius moon kids because it's supposed to speak really well of the mom. But you know, it goes both ways for everything. So usually they would look up to the mom, or the mom would be like very beautiful, or they have a very harmonious relationship with the mother. And they would have like these rose-colored glasses towards the mother in a lot of cases, where like even if she is an asshole, they like don't really notice. So it's great if you have a Libra moon kid. So it's sometimes doesn't speak. There is a call. It's like when the moon's right there, it's like there's a need to balance things out. So sometimes things are not harmonious in the home. And your Libra moon, you develop this coping mechanism or this skill of how to keep the home balanced, and you're the one that balances it. So you become the mediator, maybe between your parents or like whatever the dynamic is, because there's so many different family dynamics now. But sometimes you need to become the mediator and help keep the peace, and that can play out also. But either way, the nurturing that you need is in your home life and in your personal life is balance. And so I got today my journey. I will grow and learn with every event, circumstance, and situation that I encounter. Today on my journey, I will be positive and use my talents, gifts, and abilities to manage anything that life has to offer. Today on my journey, I will be grateful. Today on my journey, I will listen to my inner voice for guidance to connect to my head, heart, and hands. And so it's a good, thing for life, just to listen to your inner voice. And the Libra moon has a really good inner voice because it's the voice of justice. It's the voice, Libra represents, the scales you see that represent our justice system in America. And it is that calling for fairness. And so in your emotions, it's going to want fairness for you and for others around you. And it is a good voice of reason. So if you have this energy or during a Libra moon, it is a good energy for the most part. Everything has a double side. Like I said, sometimes it's like going to war for peace, right? Like they're using the Aries side, the opposite side, in order to get peace, which is what we all claim, which is kind of how the world works, right? Like it's so weird how we go to war to get peace. And that Aries energy that's opposite that, there's really needs to find a balance in between there. So let's pull a card and see what the cards are saying for my Mudra cards to balance out the elements. I think that the elements is something we all could benefit from being a lot more in tune with, because we're so not in the elements, most of us, because we're just like domesticated creatures. I told my husband the other day that I've never felt so domesticated in my life, and it's weird. It's weird for me. But in another way, it's nice. Like there's nothing wrong with being domesticated, but balance. That's what I talk about. Libra Moon's all about it. Libra in general is all about it. I've been getting a lot of fire cards, and Aries is a fire, and that's opposite Libra. So we have the purifying fire. So Akala, Agni Muda. I never try to read these because I'll just sound ignorant. That's fine with me. Assist digestion, balance, confidence. I love it when they're like so literal, like it just amazes me every time. Like I swear by all the cards and you think I would get used to it, but I don't. I'm just amazed every time on how accurately they flow. So benefits are mildly energizing for the body, mildly energizing. So see, if you are in Libra, it's a very calming, peaceful, tranquil. You think of like sunset vibes, right? Chilling, watching the sunset, whatever you do at sunset. So, and then opposite that is Aries, which is like the rising of the sun and the waking up and the going and energizing, getting going for the day. If you're like me and you got something to do, you're probably waking up 5 minutes before you got to do it. And then, so you're like running around like a crazy person. But I digress. So, this is mildly energizing, which I feel fits so good because you want to be in between where you're not Aries, where you're like running off to war, but you're not just chilling and like doing nothing, right? Like you're not being such a pacifist that you're letting people push you over for the sake of harmony either, which is a big Libra thing too that I really didn't point out, where they can overcompensate for the sake of other people's wishes. So mildly energizes the body, balances digestion, and directs breath and energy into the digestive organs. Helps to instill clarity, positive self-esteem, which is a big part of balancing out yourself and others' energy, which is what Aries and Libra represent. And life direction may assist in releasing toxins that can cause disease. So we don't want that. I actually have seen, and I don't want to like scare anyone, but in extreme cases, when people have like I work with interceptions a lot, I love them. But when people have interceptions of like Aries, Libra, or they have some trouble with the access, right? They have trouble accessing and expressing their self and others, which is really about your self-esteem and how you feel about interacting with the world and interacting with other people. I've seen when people have trouble there in their chart, I've worked with several people who have developed cancer, and that was very shocking for me. I don't know if it was shocking because we know that stress and all of those things are really hard on your body, and self-esteem is really hard on the body, and the like science proves this, So we really want to work with these energies, and you don't need your chart to do that, okay? So I'm not like trying to sell you astrology. I mean, probably am at some point, and I probably will want to do a reading for money, but like you don't need it is what I'm telling you. So I try to be honest and make sure that everybody has options, is that you can literally just self-reflect and look at the parts that I'm telling you in this free video or any other free information and think about what that's like in your life without looking at a chart. And that might be cool to do before you even read your chart. And if you've already been studying your chart for a long time, you can reflect and see if these points apply. And if you have any struggles that show up in your Aries Libra axis, and if these are areas that you struggle with, especially if you have an Aries Libra interception, I'd be interested to see how that played out. Because if you have that interception and then it's hard to access and express yourself versus how with other people. Anyway, I'm getting off track. So curl all of the fingers inward like fists, with the thumbs resting on top. Extend the index fingers up to touch at the tips. Lay thumbs, the glare is really bad. So extend the index fingers up to touch at the tips. Lay thumbs over the middle finger. Joints touching at the inside tips. Allow the knuckles of the middle, ring, and pinky fingers to touch. Bring the hands just in front of the solar plexus. Relax the shoulders. Subtle balance and purity guides me confidently forward. So we're gonna do this, which is super easy. You just make fists that touch each other, and then point your index fingers, tips together, and we say subtle and purity guides me confidently forward. And you can do that as many times as you want. You can really just sit. You can do other poses while doing that, and all of those things. That was great. Actually, I'm gonna do that one more time. And so I'm actually just not gonna put the rest of my makeup on. Whatever. I'm gonna read. I really like these medicine cards. The last one for the full moon in Virgo was really, really great. So these cards are my medicine cards, and I'm gonna ask them what animal is going to show the Moon and Libra energy. Ooh, the Swan. What? So I'm learning these cards, and I'm just adding this into my video to like learn with you guys. And so by pulling them for the different energies, it's going to help me remember them and learn them. And this is how I build a relationship with my cards and bring meaningful content to my Libra topic, because I can talk about all the signs forever. So the way we look it up, so this is Swan number 39 is the animal. So in the book, I would go to 39, and 39 is page 193. 193 is, let's see. That's crazy because I feel like the Swan fits really good already, and I haven't even read what it says. So we'll see how well it fits. And if I ever pull a card that I don't think fits, I will let you know. But that hasn't happened yet. So if it does, we can we'll discuss why it doesn't fit, and that's another way to learn. But so far, it's been like surprisingly on point. I really love these cards. So Swan, the power of woman, entering sacred space, touching future, yet to come, bringing eternal grace. So I think that's interesting because, you know, a lot of times we associate beauty and Venus and everything with women, but actually Libra is a Venus ruled sign that is a masculine sign, because Libra is an air sign. And the reason I think that is because Libra is about balance. And so in order to fully balance out the feminine energy, you have to bring masculine energy. So it is where the feminine energy meets the masculine, and that is where they join. So Like I said, it is at sunset. So if you think sunsets are always considered this really romantic date energy, like that's a lot of time when people go on dates, right? It's sunset. So it's like when the man and woman meet in for partnership. And that's the Libra is also associated with the seventh house. And so the seventh house is the house of romantic. Um, okay, I'm going to take that back. It's not always romantic, but it's partnership. So it's where you come together with someone. It's considered the marriage house, where the fifth house would be more like dating and fun, but it is associated with partnership. And it's not quite Libra, but it's where Libra feels more comfortable. So it doesn't, the seventh house does not represent Libra energy. That is where a lot of people get the houses, messed up, is that they think that the energy is the same, and it is not. It's just Libra feels most comfortable in the house of partnership and like legal contracts of like, okay, I agree to be this, you agree to be that. And now we are, balancing each other out with our needs. And that's why Libra likes it there. But I would say Libra loves relations, either of business or of pleasure. And, so relating with others and learning about themselves through the interaction of other people is something that Libra energy loves to do. If you have a Libra moon, you probably know what I'm talking about. So let's see. The Swan is grace. I love that. That's so Libra energy. I'm so blown away by these cards, you guys. This is not me. So I don't be claiming that like, oh, I make these cards. The cards are awesome. It's just, it's not me. It's the divine. It's God. It's whatever. It's the higher powers. Little Swan flew through the dream time, looking for the future. She rested for a moment in the coolness of the pond, looking for a way to find the entry point of the future. This was a moment of confusion for Swan, as she knew that she had happened into the dream time by accident. This was her first fight alone, or sorry, not fight, flight. This was her first flight alone. And she was a bit concerned by the dreamtime landscape. As Swan looked high above Sacred Mountain, she saw the biggest swirling black hole. So another talk about black holes. I don't know how many of these cards talk about that, but I think it's interesting because I've been watching documentaries about black holes. So I'm fascinated by them. Like, because they really exist, like they prove that they exist. So we always thought that that was fiction talk, but Einstein, the genius. Biggest swirling black hole she had ever seen. Dragonfly came flying by. Swan stopped him to ask about the black hole. Dragonfly said, Swan, that is the doorway to the other planes of imagination. I have been guardian of the illusion for many, many moons. If you want to enter there, you would have to ask permission and earn the right. Swan was not so sure that she wanted to enter the black hole, right? Those are scary. She asked Dragonfly what was necessary for her to earn entry. Dragonfly replied, you must be willing to accept whatever the future holds as it is presented. So let me get this straight. There's a black hole that I don't know what's on the other side of it. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know if I'm going to be like ripped to shreds or something. And the dragonfly is telling me, or telling the swan, whatever, that, in order to get access, you have to just accept what's going to come. You must be willing to accept whatever the future holds as it is presented. If somebody walked up onto the street and said that to me, I would be like, bye. But anyways, let's hear the rest of the story. Without trying to change Great Spirit's claim. Swan looked at her ugly little duckling body, and then answered, I will be happy to abide by Great Spirit's plan. I won't fight the currents of the black hole. I will surrender to the flow of the spiral and trust what I'm shown. Dragonfly was very happy with Swan's answer and began to spin the magic to break the pawn's illusion. So he's like spinning magic to break the pawn's illusion. Oh, because like the pawn's like a mirror. So he's like spinning it and it breaks that reflection, is the imagery that I'm getting. Suddenly, Swan was engulfed by a whirlpool in the center of the pawn. So she just like him spinning in her reflection just created this whirlpool and like sucks her in. Just freaking terrifying. Swan reappeared many days later. Well, at least she comes back. Or they. I don't think it says if it's female or male. But now she was grateful and white and long-necked. So this sounds like the ugly duckly story. Ugly duckly. Dragonfly was stunned. Swan, what happened to you? He exclaimed. Swan smiled and said, Dragonfly, I learned to surrender my body to the power of Great Spirit and was taken to where the future lies. Oh, future lives. So she was taken to where the future lives. She was taken into the future. So this is like a time into the future traveling black hole pond. Crazy. I saw many wonders high on Sacred Mountain, and because of my faith and my acceptance, I've been changed. I've learned to accept the state of grace. Dragonfly was very happy for Swan. I think I pulled Dragonfly like a couple of times already. I should go look at that card again. Not today, but we'll see later. Swan told Dragonfly many of the wonders beyond the illusion. Through her healing and her acceptance of the state of grace, she was given the right to enter the dream time. Ooh, what's the dream time? So it is that we learn to surrender to the grace of the rhythm of the universe and slip from our physical bodies into the dream time. So remember I told you that like Libra energy is when the sun goes down and like that's when we go to sleep and dream. Okay, crazy. So of awareness. If you pulled Swan, it ushers in a time of altered states of awareness and of development of your intuitive abilities. Swan medicine people have the ability to see the future, to surrender to the power of Great Spirit, and to accept the healing and transformation of their lives. The Swan card is telling you to accept your ability to know what lies ahead. If you are resisting your self-transformation, relax. It will be easier if you go with the flow. Duck face. So, stop denying that you know who is calling when the phone rings. Pay attention to your hunches and your gut knowledge and honor your female intuitive side. Ooh, I really like that. So that was really good. So, you know, the moon is intuition. And so I really like that end part of saying like, you know, Libra there can be a very intuitive and like psychic energy, is what I pulled out of that. And but also first, before I talk about that, I want to point out that the Swan is you know, that transformation of that very old story of the ugly duckling to the Swan, and Libra can really represent that as like the story of becoming beautiful. And a lot of people with a lot of Libra energy can relate to that story of becoming and like stepping into beauty. Like it's very interesting how that does resonate with the energy, and so many Libra people represent beauty, especially when it's on like the ascendant or the sun and it's not afflicted or whatever. Those are, you know, considered, I think Kim Kardashian is a Libra, and I'm not a big fan, but you know, and so there's also like that whole you know, seeking beauty through transformation, whether it's a natural transformation, like kind of just growing, or from self where you're like exuding beauty because you emotionally transformed, mentally transformed. And those things are really the core beauty of what I look for in beauty in myself and in others. But it's also that other like superficial beauty where we're literally talking about the Swan when it was younger felt like it physically was ugly and then now became beautiful because it looks differently and has a different complexion, you know. So a lot of Libra energy I feel like represents applying makeup, applying transformative things in order to beautify the aesthetics. So Libra energy can be very good with whether they project it externally or internally, they do seek out beauty. You know, I know Libra moons that do photography and take a lot of pictures, and I know because it's not really like their sun energy, but they still want to see beauty, like they want it in their internal world, and they want to be nurtured. They feel nurtured by beauty. But I'm just kind of processing the energy. I don't have like any placements in Libra except for my 8th house is Libra in most house systems, I believe. So that energy is kind of a little distant from me. The 8th house is kind of a dark place, and it's not a place that we naturally are very aware of. But it is like a house of, it's like marriage, like what comes after the actual ceremony, like when you blend resources together, it's merging of two into one. And it's also death and transformation. It's Scorpio likes that house the best. So if that gives you any idea, I'll do a Scorpio moon later, which will be fun. I can't wait to see what card we pick for that. I love Scorpio moon. So I don't want to talk too much, but I'm personally processing this because I thought this was so powerful and so on point. And thank you all so much for coming. I'm glad I was able to do one more video before I need to take a break because I have a lot of stuff to do this week. So I'm hoping, making up new words. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get back on it following the next following week. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and like, share, or whatever. You know, if you want me to do more makeup tutorials, let me know. But I doubt that you want to see that. But it can be fun, you know. Sometimes it's fun to just watch me apply makeup. So my screen just like went away. So I think that's a sign that's like, cut it. I need those signs. The universe has to give me more of those. I'm working on it, guys. But I hope you enjoyed it. Bye. Won't it let me close? I'm trying to leave.